If you're anything like me, there's nothing better than kicking back after a long day in the saddle and popping on one of your favorite movies into your DVD/VCR combo. And since you can only watch Wild Hogs so many times before your brain begins to liquefy and drip out of your nostrils, here are 10 other must-watch motorcycle movies. We've got drama, comedy, documentary, romance, thriller, shocksploitation, necro-realism, Bollywood, political satire, meta-transgressive cinema verite, and more. So there's a little something for everyone. Let's get into it. For number one, we're going to right down the middle with a classic mid-2000s biographical drama, The World's Fastest Indian. The movie tells the true story of Burt Munro, a New Zealand motorcycle enthusiast who set numerous land speed records with his 1920 Indian Scout. The film begins in the small town of Invercargill, New Zealand, where Burt, played by Anthony Hopkins, spends his day perfecting his vintage Indian motorcycle. Despite facing financial and health challenges, Munro dreams of taking his beloved bike to the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah to break the land speed record. Pretty believable. Who hasn't dreamt of that? Taking their fully custom Indian Scout to the Salt Flats to take some glamour shots for Instagram before putting it back in a trailer before it gets too dirty, and literally going halfway around the world to do it. Super relatable. Encountering various obstacles, including skeptical officials, lack of funds, and mechanical issues, Munro stays determined, as does any hero on his hero journey. He is the main character, and he must overcome challenges to allow himself to evolve. That's what helps define a protagonist. There's a little free film class 101 for you. With the support of friends and fellow enthusiasts, he managed to make the journey to the United States. Munro faces additional challenges upon reaching the Bonneville Salt Flats, where he must navigate bureaucratic hurdles and prove the worthiness of his unconventional modified motorcycles. These damn bureaucrats are always impeding on our freedoms. The heart of the story lies in Munro's perseverance, passion, and friendships he forms along the way. It's not about the motorcycle, it's about the human spirit. That's movie magic, baby. Ultimately, Munro reaches 201.9 miles per hour and sets a new land speed record. Burt was the true OG squid. Thank you for your service. If ever there was a singular cinematic representation of what the year 2004 was like, it is the movie Torque. Seriously, for all you Zoomers out there born in like the mid-2000s, which in my brain still doesn't even make sense why someone's birth year can be 2005, I lived through 2004. Let me explain. This was essentially a cash grab experiment to capitalize on the success of the money-printing Fast and Furious franchise. Torque is filled with quick-witted, crap-talking alpha chads, goatees, bandanas, sport bikes, hot babes, and outlandish stunts. It's everything you could ever want in a movie and then some. The main character is named Ford and gets framed for killing Ice Cube's brother. Ice Cube is the leader of a violent and malicious Reaper's bike gang. There's crystal and some shootouts and car chases and FBI agents. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll remember what it is to be human. Torque has a super wicked soundtrack with songs from Nickelback, Kid Rock, Jane's Addiction, and Hoobastank. You remember Hoobastank? The worst named band ever? There are awesome cameos from comedian Dane Cook and Jesse James from West Coast Choppers. There are a lot of classic sport bikes as well, including a Aprilia RSV Mille, a Honda CBR 954RR, and a Triumph Daytona 955, a Kawasaki ZX7, and more. I know things are uncertain for many people right now in 2024, so if you ever need a reason to be glad it's no longer 2004, go ahead and watch Torque. Seriously. It was 20 years ago, and I'm glad we don't live in the mid-2000s anymore. What could be maybe misconstrued as a documentary about football on any Sunday is actually a documentary about motorcycling, and it's a classic. This 1971 doc film was directed by Bruce Brown and explores the world of motorcycle racing and the passion of motorcyclists. The film focuses on various forms of motorcycle racing and the diverse individuals who engage in this exhilarating sport. It transitions to showcase different forms of motorcycle racing, including motocross, flat track racing, desert racing, and road racing. Throughout the film, the audience is introduced to a wide range of riders, from professional racers to amateurs, each sharing their experience and love for motorcycling. The film features notable personalities such as Steve McQueen, Mert Lowell, and Malcolm Smith, among others. It provides an intimate look into their lives, training routines, and the challenges they face in pursuit of their passion for motorcycle racing. On Any Sunday goes beyond the competition aspect and explores the camaraderie among motorcyclists. The classic documentary captures the sense of community and the shared enthusiasm that transcends differences in race, age, and background amongst those who share a common love of riding. Seriously, it's a classic every motorcyclist should watch on any Sunday. It's a great movie. I won't ride no damn China CF moto, and I sure as hell won't watch no movie about no damn commie Antifa terrorists. Motorcycles are about freedom, and there ain't nothing free about communism. And that's before being immortalized on t-shirts worn by edgelord Redditors Argentinian-born revolutionary Che Guevara chronicled his 1952 motorcycle journey across Central America, accompanied by friend Alberto Granado in the book Motorcycle Diaries that was then made into a film in 2004. Their trip is initially motivated by a desire for adventure and a sense of wanderlust. As the duo travels through various countries including Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Colombia, they encounter the harsh realities of poverty, inequality, and social injustice. These experiences profoundly impacted Guevara's worldview, igniting his political consciousness and inspiring his future role as a revolutionary leader. Throughout the journey, the film explores Guevara's interactions with diverse people they meet, from indigenous communities to impoverished laborers. The stark contrast between the affluent and the disenfranchised leave a lasting impression on Guevara, influencing his evolving ideology. While this sounds like a rather incendiary rhetoric in today's political climate, it is as much or more a coming-of-age road trip story than it is a politically motivated piece of propaganda. The mid-2000s really were the pinnacle of motorcycling and pop culture. You can see why everybody was taking out 0% loans and buying R6s and ZX6s. It was just the cultural zeitgeist of the time. 3 of the 4 entries previously mentioned were products of the mid-2000s, as is the following: The Long Way Round. The docu-series starring buddies Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman was a significant motorcycle media milestone that sparked significant interest in the world of adventure riding, a segment that has only continued to grow in popularity since and stands as one of the fastest growing segments in motorcycling, despite Yami Noob never talking about it because nobody on this channel cares about adventure stuff. So, yeah. The duo travel around the world eastward, 19,000 miles from London to New York City, and they travel through varying climates and environments, oftentimes with questionable or non-existent infrastructure. It is a classic for a reason, showcasing riding, friendship, challenges, different cultures, and helps restore a bit of faith in humanity as the team receives hospitality, aid, and generosity from strangers all over the world. It is very much a early 2000s time capsule as well, a window into a different time. It is a must-watch for motorcyclists. Can you guess what year Biker Boyz came out? 2003. Biker Boyz is a 2003 action film directed by Reggie Rock Bythewood, centered around the underground world of motorcycle clubs and illegal motorcycle street racing. The protagonist, a talented young motorcycle racer named Kid, is eager to prove himself as one of the best riders. Kid's journey takes a significant turn when he discovers that Smoke, played by Lawrence Fishburne, the reigning king of Cali and leader of the elite motorcycle club known as the Black Knights, may be his estranged father. Also, he rides a Busa in this movie, because it's the best thing ever. This is some real drama and intrigue. Kid may actually be King's actual kid. Kid is determined to earn his place among the best and challenges Smoke to race to claim the title of the King of Cali. As Kid navigates the intense and sometimes perilous world of underground motorcycle racing, he forms alliances, faces rivalries, and learns valuable lessons about family, loyalty, and the true meaning of being a biker. Biker Boyz explores themes of identity, competition, and bonds formed within the motorcycle communities. Y2K movie magic, baby. Okay, if you're tired of the silly, albeit action-packed mid-2000s motorcycle flicks, check out the 2014 documentary Road, narrated by Liam Neeson, focusing on the Dunlop family from Northern Ireland who dominated motorcycle road racing for decades. The documentary explores the unique nature of motorcycle races held on public, closed roads in Northern Ireland and the Isle of Man. It primarily follows the racing careers of Joey Dunlop, a 5-time consecutive TT world champion, and his brother Robert Dunlop. Tragically, Joey lost his life in a race in Tallinn, Estonia. The film also delves into the challenges faced by Robert Dunlop, who, despite multiple injuries, returned to racing after rehabilitation, but eventually lost his life in a practice lap before the 2008 Northwest 200. A poignant moment in the documentary occurs when Michael Dunlop, son of Robert and nephew of Joey, defies the organization's strong objections to race in the 250cc competition just 2 days after his father's death. On May 17, 2008, the day before his father's funeral, Michael forces his way onto the starting grid and wins the race, marking a climactic moment in the Dunlop family's enduring legacy in motorcycle road racing. The Isle of Man TT is a crazy part of motorcycle history and racing culture, showcasing some of the most extreme, dangerous, and deadly racing in the sport. The Dunlop family have been a prominent fixture of that world for many, many years, and this is a really cool documentary. For all the fast boys out there, here is another documentary about the world of motorcycle racing, a welcome departure from the boomer outlaw biker flicks or the Y2K street racing action films. Hitting the apex is a 2015 documentary documentary film directed by Mark Neal, narrated by Brad Pitt. The documentary focuses on the intense and competitive world of MotoGP, the premier class of motorcycle racing. The film centers around 6 of the top MotoGP drivers of the time, including Valentino Rossi, Jorge Lorenzo, Marc Marquez, Dani Pedrosa, Marco Simoncelli, and Casey Stoner. Ever heard of them? Yeah, they're the aliens of our era. It provides an in-depth look into their lives, their unique riding styles, and the extreme risks they take to compete at the highest levels of motorcycle racing. Hitting the Apex explores the personalities, rivalries, and the sheer dedication of these riders as they push the limits of both themselves and their machines. The documentary also delves into the technical aspects of motorcycle racing, examining the cutting-edge technology and engineering that goes into creating these high-performance prototype bikes. One of the central storylines involves the rise of Marc Marquez and his pursuit of greatness in the sport. The film examines Marquez's aggressive riding style and the impact it had on the dynamics of GP. Hitting the Apex captures the thrills and challenges of MotoGP racing while providing a behind-the-scenes look at the lives of sports top athletes. It can serve as a great starting point for those new to the world of racing and looking for a crash course. No pun intended. For more MotoGP docs, Faster and Fastest were also made by director Mark Neal. There are, of course, classic motorcycle films like The Wild One starring Marlon Brando and Easy Rider with Peter Fonda and Jack Nicholson, but why settle for either when you could instead watch a movie that combines the two with a western flair and plenty of off-color, crude 90s era jokes? Harley-Davidson and the Marlboro Man would fit the bill. The 1991 film is a blending of genres including crime, drama, comedy, and western. The story is set in a dystopian near future where the iconic Harley-Davidson motorcycle and Marlboro cigarettes are enduring symbols of rebellion. The characters Harley-Davidson, played by Mickey Rourke, and the Marlboro Man, played by Don Johnson, are two friends from a bygone era of freedom and individualism. When their favorite bar, the Rock and Roll Bar and Grill, faces closure due to a bank demanding repayment of debt, Harley and Marlboro decide to take action. Learning that the bank is linked to a corrupt corporation planning a major drug deal, the duo concocts a plan to rob the bank in order to save their hangout. The narrative combines elements of heist, action, and buddy film genres as Harley and the Marlboro Man navigate through gritty urban landscapes on their motorcycles. It may not have been the most accurate depiction of motorcycle culture, but neither have 99% of movies about motorcycles been anyways. It seems to have been too complicated a lifestyle to have pinned down. The last movie to make the list today is a French independent thriller called Burnout. The movie follows the story of a man caught between the dangerous worlds of motorcycle racing and drug trafficking. The protagonist, Tony, is an aspiring motorcycle racer and a father struggling to make ends meet. To secure the future for his son, he becomes involved in drug trafficking to earn quick money. However, when a drug deal goes wrong, Tony finds himself indebted to a dangerous criminal. The film explores themes of desperation, sacrifice, and consequence. With intense motorcycle racing sequences, combines action and suspense to depict Tony's struggle. This movie is tense, fast-paced, and highly stylized. It shies away from many of the silly motorcycle stereotypes of caricatures found in motorcycle movies from the 90s and 2000s. If you're looking for a high-stakes crime drama and know how to read subtitles, check out Burnout. That wraps it up for today. How many of these motorcycle movies have you seen? Which movies are you mad that I left off the list? Let me know down below. I will catch you guys later. Fact: James Dean was the first ever actor to receive an Oscar nomination posthumously. Goodbye.
Keep watching Yummy News.